Welcome back, guys. This is Lumberjack Cheese, episode 4. We're going to do almost kind of a lesson, a run through of how to fabricate happiness in your life. So if you are someone who, all you can do, no matter what you want, no matter how badly you want to be happy, this is a practical guide as to how you can achieve it. We're gonna double check, make sure you can see it. Yes, you can. Almost gonna zoom in as well. Okay, so here we have just some notes just beforehand, just to keep us on track. The first one is gonna be the face. So if you want to instantaneously, pretty much be able to raise your happiness in a way where your brain kind of just gets overridden almost by your body, is to just smile in the first place. So step 1 is to just smile and show your teeth, or don't. If you are self-conscious about your teeth, that's okay. You don't have to smile and show your teeth. But if you do, it's better, because you activate certain muscles in your face that tell your brain that you're smiling. So we're going to explain why this works in just a moment. But if you smile and you show your teeth, and if you bring your cheekbones to your eyes, to the eyes, right? So smile, show your teeth, bring your cheekbones to your eyes. So it's like a crinkle effect. And then when you're really good at this, you can almost, bring your cheekbones up, right? And then out. And that is a very genuine smile, right? You want it to be nice, big and wide. And it's called the pencil technique or the pen technique. But you also want to practice even putting a pen in between your teeth. Not to clench down on it, but to have space. Now, I like to smile kind of with my teeth together, so I do clench them, but it's totally optional. I like it more, but it's just preference, right? But if you can't do it, it's fine. That's, a later step. So fabricating happiness, smile, bring your cheekbones to your eyes. That way it's genuine, You don't want to learn how to smile, but then people interpret it as just a fake smile when it's actually genuine. Because that's real. That's what I've seen before. So this is step 1, right? This will get you really far, right? But what I'm going to teach next is a secondary practical guide to help kind of relax your mind. And this is going to take advantage of your 5 senses, your touch, smell, sight, hearing, and taste. So one thing that a lot of people who, are overweight will do to comfort themselves is they'll bring a pillow, although they don't have to be overweight. I do this too. They'll hold a pillow. Hold a pillow, not a pill, to their stomach. And that is because, psychologically, your organs are in the middle of your body, and that's also why you cross your arms, or you hold your arms like this. And if you hold a pillow to your stomach, it's subconsciously saying that I'm protected, I'm safe. That's why hoodies feel really nice. That's why, heavy blankets are amazing, is because they help your body feel like it's shielded. That's why we wear armor. It's like mental armor almost. So if you are feeling kind of stressed out, one thing you can do to help yourself is you can wear heavy clothing, heavy/baggy clothing, and you can wear a blanket, and you can hold a pillow to your stomach. Now that is using touch, right? So the argument here is that you want to use your 5 senses to communicate to your brain externally that you are safe, that you're comfortable, that you're protected. Hold a pillow to your stomach, um, wear heavy baggy clothing, wear a blanket. This isn't bad. This is really good. In fact, it's a great thing to do to your brain to help calm it down and say, hey, you don't have to be stressed. You can choose to self-soothe. Okay, so we got touch out of the way. Now we're going to go into smell. What can tell your brain to, kind of be happy via smell? Well, you can do candles. You have food. You have aromatics. If you're dehydrated, basic compounds like water. So we'll put water here if you're dehydrated. Will smell amazing to you because you can smell water, but it really doesn't activate unless it's like necessary to you. Candles, foods, aromatics, water. The smell of oils, right? So, the smell of someone you love, or let's say you have a dog, you smell their hair, there's an aroma to it. Or you go and you get food and it makes you feel nostalgic. That's going to make you feel comfortable, happy. Can raise oxytocin, um, you know, relax the vagus nerve, right? So people who are hypersensitive, with their vagus nerve, they can have a hair comber, a hair massager or head massager, and it activates the vagus nerve so much that that they enter an instant state of calm. That's what we kind of want to fabricate here. So that's smell. Now, what do we want to do with sight? Well, when you see someone you love, you see a parent, or if you have a good relationship with a friend, automatically your brain is producing feel-good chemicals because you like them. You want to like them. You have good reasons. You're excited. You're happy. When you see a dog and you pet a dog, it activates, the touch part of your brain, the smell, the sight, and the hearing. And, it releases feel-good hormones. That's why, there are therapy dogs, therapy animals. So, sight, we're going to say, loved ones. If there's an image that you like, if you have a band, that you really like singing, you see it come on your phone, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm excited, you're gonna get pumped, you're gonna be happy. Or you're finally at the gym, or, you finally look at the clock and you're off your shift, what a blessing, dude. Or you look at your phone, or you look at a, piece of paper with your schedule and you have a day off tomorrow. Ugh, what a load off your back, right? Or that you have a 100 on your grade, or that you're passing, or someone sends you a text saying, like, hey, you're awesome, or, I miss you. These are all images, visual cues that can make you feel really, really good. So this can be text, and this can be images, right? So loved ones, texts, images. This could be scenery, looking at nice scenery. If you're a nature person, seeing plants or seeing a sunset or a sunrise, these are all really good visual cues. We'll also say vibrant colors. Bees love these. Bees love vibrant colors. They go crazy over them. And that's the same with people, excuse me. Okay, that's sight. And then now we have hearing. And this is something a lot of people are going to connect to. What is the one thing audibly that makes us very, very happy, or, helps us feel a range of emotions from rage, sadness, happiness, loneliness, fulfilled, excited, pumped? It's music. Music, right? Music will make you happy. And it's not something that you can really control. It's that something works for you so well that you just can't help. When you see someone you love, you just can't help feeling good. That's what we want. You can do the same thing with, having baggy clothing, wearing a blanket. A nice, heavy, heated blanket is gonna really do wonders for, your happiness. Okay, so we have music, We have, sounds in general. We have, sounds you recognize. This can be, voices from others. This could be, the clamoring of hammers if you love being in the forge, or, sword fighting if you're in a heavy armored combat, or, it could be you're at a play and, the main actor, his vocals are just astonishing. Which, if you've been to one where you have professional actors, it's just another level. Nothing can really touch a good play, right? So we'll do voices, vocals, things like that. Birds chirping helps your brain be relaxed. They say that if you hear, critters and, creatures chirping and buzzing, and then it stops, a predator is nearby, right? So, you have white noise. White noise. White noise does wonders for you if you need sleep. Amazing. Great sleep. I've been using white noise for a very, very long time. Okay, and then we have taste. What can we do with taste that would make us happy? Well, that's food up here, right? Good tasting food. You ever hear that good tasting food is the key to a woman's heart? Well, it's true. And it's also to a man's, because everyone loves good tasting food. So we have food can make you happy. Um, uh, anything you consume, like let's say gum, or if it's just a taste, maybe it's like, a cheese, things like that. Your mouth is meant to consume, basically. That's its only purpose, You drink something nice, right? So, you have a liquid, maybe it's Kool-Aid, lemonade. If you go to Starbucks, a strawberry acai, a frappuccino, coffee. If you like bitter tasting things, maybe like a really, really dark chocolate. These sorts of things, you attach emotions to them. They make you feel good, right? So, fabricating happiness involves one, smiling, just feeling good, choosing to deliberately smile, which I haven't even explained why that works yet. So let me just do that real quick. Your body, this is a truth. Your body influences your mind, and your mind influences your body. And then it just loops right back over. And that is because when you eat crappy food, right, or you don't eat anything at all, you get really cranky, you get really hangry, you get frustrated. Sometimes you don't even know why. Maybe you're fasting and you're a little bit irritated. That's something that people have to take note of, is they're going to be slightly irritable, more irritable. I'm considerably more irritable. That's why I don't fast. But also your mind can take care of your body. If you're laughing, if you can calm yourself down from stress, if you can stop your body from producing cortisol consciously by choosing to think certain things that make you feel certain ways. Whenever I feel sad or stressed, I just need to cry. Embracing that emotion is one of the healthiest things you can do. Just like embracing happiness is good, not shutting out the feelings, letting your brain fully envelop itself in, that like almost like a bath of hormones. And then it just flushes it all out. You got to give yourself a nice hot shower emotionally, right? And that does wonders for your body. So just remember, what you eat kind of, affects how you think, and how you think affects your body's response to external stimuli, or, i.e., the world you live in, right? So very important. Deliberately smile. It works. Trust me, it works. Smile for, 5 minutes. Go and talk to someone, or don't, or listen to some music, and tell me you don't feel different. Okay, it's impossible. It's impossible, unless you're a psychopath. Okay. Okay, so the next thing is the social aspect of things. How you interact with others socially. This goes back to, sight, hearing, physical touch. If you don't like touching people, that's okay. It's mostly visual. Having community, and belonging. And if you have enough community and belonging, purpose. And then, we'll do activities. And these don't have to be activities that involve others. They can be totally solo activities. Just choosing a time to comfort yourself, do something that you enjoy, like read a book, or you go visit a live music gallery, or you go hiking, you play guitar, you play video games, you meditate, you think introspectively, you're reading a hard, college level, uh, academic paper, or maybe you're woodworking, the social aspect of your life, essentially the active aspect of your life, very important to happiness. If this isn't good, this can really mess up your motivation to feel good, tasting something, hearing things, seeing things, smelling things, touching things. It can really derail things. So the social aspect is very, very important. Be sure to take care of you, protect your peace. I'm even going to write that down. That is so important. Protect your peace. A lot of people don't. I'll tell you, I work a job where keeping the store restocked with inventory is very, very important. And I'm just very eager to, restock. But I realized that I crossed the boundary with the person that's actually supposed to delegate all the restocking to others. And I can't just take it upon myself, right? So, but that messed me up. I really didn't like it, but I had to accept it wasn't up to me to decide when to restock the store, that if I could restock the store. So I had to let go, right? I felt angry, but I had to embrace the anger, and now I feel great. Now I'm past it. I moved on, right? And that is protecting your peace. That is, letting you not feel like you belong, and then belonging again, because you can. Feeling purposeless, not being able to restock the store made me feel kind of useless. They didn't have purpose in the store, but now I do because I let go. And it's an activity, working is an activity, and I have community, my coworkers. And nothing is better than working and cooperating with coworkers and not fighting what they're communicating to you. You got to be cooperative, you got to find middle ground. And ultimately, they were on the right. I shouldn't have been overstepping my bounds, although I didn't really know that I was, but we figured that out. Okay, now we have the mental baseline. So what I'm going to tell you, you have to look at this graph. It's going to be a vertical graph of how you feel. And we're going to do it kind of like a black and white thing, which, I contradict now myself, saying it's not really ideal. It isn't ideal, right? So it's going to switch. So you have your baseline right here. Let's say this is 0. Let's say this is -5. This is +5. And anywhere, your day can shift from up to down to up to down, up to down, right? And back to 0. And, that's just kind of how we roll as human beings. But if you are able to follow these steps, what's going to happen is your baseline for happiness is going to rise. But if you do the opposite of this, your baseline for happiness goes down, essentially. And your body adapts to that. That's why if you're really miserable or depressed, it's hard to get back out because your baseline is so far down. Let's actually demonstrate this visually, okay? Okay. Oh, see, you guys can't even see it very well. Let's change it. Okay. So you guys are hanging by a little turtleneck thing on a lamp. That's why it's a little bit shaky. My apologies. Okay. So if you are doing this, if you're making yourself physically comfortable, visually comfortable, audibly comfortable, and you have the good social life, your baseline is going to go from 0, to starting at 5 instead, to starting at 10 instead, to starting at 15, right? That's because it just goes up and up and up, and your ability to feel happy becomes more frequent in life. So now your -5 is a, oh dang, I didn't want to do that, 0, and you're really happy is a 10. So you feel happy as a 10, but you're neutral as a 5, right? That's a better baseline emotional stability framework that gets built in your body, in your brain. And the next time, your bad day is a 5, right? And your good day is a 15. But if you're at 10, right, which is the best day for a 5, which is twice over a best day for someone at a 0, you're you're leagues ahead. I used to be at a 15 as a baseline, and life was great. And I brought it back down because now I want to explore life doing the opposite. You know, I was at, let's say 15, and I'd be at a 10, and this is a 20, and it'd fluctuate. But because life was so good, I was never really ever in a bad spot emotionally. I just couldn't. My brain wouldn't let me. And if I did fall down, really far, it's like a yo-yo effect. It pulls you back up just as fast because it's like stretching a rubber band. Okay. But now we're going to look at the opposite. What happens, right, when you do the opposite of this? You don't feel comfortable physically, right? You look at your body and you judge it and you say, I hate this. So visually, you're not happy. You don't, let's say got COVID, can't smell or taste very well. And, you think food tastes bland, you're very picky about things, which isn't a bad thing. It's just preference. But you're not around food that are like, yeah, I like this food. I love it. It makes me feel great. Um, you're gonna have a baseline of -5. Your good day is gonna be 0, and -10 is gonna be an even worse day, right? But you're at -5. That's horrible. That's bad. That's a sad day, right? Being at a 0 at a good day, that's hard, man. But then let's say life hits you again with another curveball. Boom, you're at -10 now after, a week of still feeling crappy. Boom. Now your best day is a -5 and your worst day is a -15, which is still really bad. And then boom, life hits you another curveball. Now you're at -20, right? Your best day is a -15. Your worst day is a -25. What is that? Come on, guys. Let's be so honest. That is depression. That is depression, falling into the pit and not being able to pick yourself back up because even your good days are still really terrible, right? And your brain is living in that. You know, cortisol levels are through the roof. You're stressed out. Nothing feels good. You blame yourself. You blame other people. You're a victim. Life sucks. You can't do anything about it emotionally. You're just a wreck. Life, it's bad. It's very hard to, be here and go back to here because, 0 being your baseline, and you're still not happy. You have to work so hard to go from 20 to 15 to 10 to 5 to 0 just to feel normal again, just to feel neutral. But you're starting back at ground 0 where you first started in the first place. That's a tremendous task. That is why the order of being happy is so difficult for people, you know? And main, when you're at 15, you're already snowballing. Okay? It means a lot of these are already lining up for you and helping you out. And, your social life is good. Your physical comfortableness is good. Visually, things are good. You like the way you look, or you're not bothered by the way you look. When I was young, I hated the way it looked. I thought I was ugly. I hated the way my voice sounded. I wanted to have a deeper voice, have more hair, grow a beard, be cool, just regular kid stuff. But then I had to learn to let go. I thought introspectively, I said, even if I did have all that stuff, it wouldn't stop the insecurity. It wouldn't stop me from being at 20, even if I look like Adonis. You know, if I had looks max to the max, it doesn't matter because it's all mental. This is all in your brain, okay? Uh, you know, with fitness influencers who have body image problems, they think visually that they look ugly. You know, that's a problem mentally, not physically, but it means so much to them how they look physically that they just can't help but feeling bad. That's the same thing. We got to reverse that. So how do you go from negative 20 to 15 and feeling like your life is on fire in a good way? You know, you're killing it, doing great. Well, you you got to distance yourself from a lot of things. And some of you guys will never be in a position to take yourself out because you have responsibilities, you have bills you have to pay, you have coworkers you have to live with, you have a manager who, is an ass, or, you're in debt, you're in prison, you committed a crime, you feel guilty, you said something bad, and, you're like, you go down this rabbit hole of, negative self-talk. You have to let go of all of that. Essentially, you have to say no. You have to say no to that. The first step is just to say no. 9. You have to say 20, I don't want it. I don't want negative 10. I don't want negative 5. I don't want 0. You have to say no to all of that. And it takes so much time and energy to just be able to say no even once. And being able to say no multiple times gets even harder. Because it's like, what are you doing with your life? Do you have all the answers? No, you don't. You don't have all the answers. And you're not supposed to. Okay? Because people who are at 15 or 10 or 5 as their baseline going up, they find the answers after they've already gotten there. Because the answers don't come before, they come after. Otherwise, they wouldn't be answers. Okay? They wouldn't be the answers that got you there. Okay? Because you only really figure out what those are, again, once you're already there. So the first step is saying no, is saying I want something different, and this doesn't benefit me. Being at negative 20 does not benefit me. I would benefit from being a happier person. And you just have to say that over and over and over again. It has to be recursive. It has to be a loop. Okay? You have to think introspectively. Does saying these things every day to myself or to other people benefit me? Doesn't matter if it's right. Doesn't matter if it's good. Does it benefit me or other people? Right? Does this give purpose to myself through other people? Right? Let's talk about, day 1. My first video, the broad introduction to lumberjack cheese. One of the first principles is that you gain purpose through connection to other people. Okay? So does it benefit you? No, it does not. And that's how you get out of that hole. You tell your brain, and you have to trust your brain to say, we got to change, that I have to change. We have to change. Because the brain is like source code looking at itself. And even though you're conscious, it also is conscious. And it's rewriting itself as you live every single day of your life. Okay? So, it doesn't benefit you. Say no. Follow this guideline. Try and have better community, purpose through others, do activities, protect your peace, taste good food, listen to good music, look at things that make you happy, watch a show, watch a TV show. We'll even put this here, play video games, okay? Escape from reality, okay? Just be happy. Smell things that smell good. I have a humidifier in my room, and I also have an oil like mister. Golden Champa is one of my favorite smells on the whole planet. And when I want to feel good, I'll put some of it in the humidifier and make my room smell nice, and it makes me happy. Okay? Totally worth it. Get a pillow. I got a blanket hoodie from Costco for $20. This thing is so comfortable. You know, I'm a dude, I'll walk into Starbucks, I'll get a coffee with this blanket hoodie. You know what the baristas say? They say, Sawyer, you look so gosh dang comfortable, you know? And they're not judging you, they're not saying you look stupid. They're saying, wow, he chose to be comfortable today. That's good. I'm good. I'm jealous. That's what they're gonna say, right? Wear heavy clothing, baggy clothing, wear a blanket, a heavy heated blanket, watch a show, take care of yourself, and then smile. Smile, show your teeth. Yellow teeth, you can't care about that. No one's going to care about your teeth. They may say, oh, he has yellow teeth, but then they're going to move on to a different thought pretty much immediately. No one cares about your teeth. The only time people care about your teeth are when they are pearly white. Okay? People don't care about your teeth when they're yellow, but they care about them when they're pearly white. And they say, wow, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I want that. Okay? Because they don't want yellow teeth. They're not going to care about your yellow teeth. So you're better off. It doesn't benefit you to just judge yourself, right? By what you think they look like. Because no one's thinking about what you think they look like or what they do look like. They're not even bothered by it. You gotta let go of that sort of thing. It doesn't benefit you, even if it's true. Okay. The next thing, I have some notes up here as well. I mean, you could end the video right here. You don't even have to watch anything more. But just know, right, that all of this formula is going to release a lot of good hormones and cortisol lowering, mechanisms in your body and your brain that tell you to relax and just be happy and just smile. And you don't need any reason to do this. You don't need a reason to, smell something nice. You don't need a reason to hold a pillow. You don't need a reason to listen to good music, right? Everyone knows that. You listen to music in your car, someone gets in, you play different music. You can't be shy about that. They need to know what you think good music is, right? So that you can bond. That's okay. Taste good food, Don't just eat chicken and rice unless you're just trying to get shredded. You don't really care about that. Eat good food, have a Frappuccino with vanilla sweet cream. It is so good. It is so good. Get it in a tall, small cup. It'll make you happy. It'll make other people happy. And have good community. That's how you fabricate happiness. And it changes your life forever. You think clearer. You're not clouded by the mystique of, other people. It also helps you build other skills that build on other skills, which is to say that other people and what their thoughts are don't matter, because they don't. And because we do believe that they matter is where the pain and suffering comes up. That's where it comes from. So you gotta let go of that. Anyway, this is Lumberjack Cheese. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.